gentlemen, welcome back to another beauty of a video. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different, and I'm actually going to be covering today's brand new hot patch, and it's making a lot of aggressive changes to our boy Mac. Guys, I'm uploading every day, so if you're liking this content, please like and subscribe. Also, please comment below what you think the most crazy change in this patch is. Personally, I think Spider Mace getting nerfed is pretty insane and brutal, but that's just me. So let's just hop right into it. So Apothecary. So obviously, the big change here is scaling, and it's going to give you more regen. I think it'll probably be about the same power level. I think a lot of the things that scaled this just got nerfed because Floor Spike and Spider Mace, which we'll see below, just got cooldown nerfs. And those are pretty good enablers for this. However, I could still maybe see this popping off of like a Candles Burn build or some other degenerate builds, but I don't know if this is enough currently, but it is a lot. Like 5 early game is a lot, so maybe this is a lot stronger early game. We'll see, but definitely a change for the better. I wasn't seeing a lot of Apothecary. Athanor is basically just a full scaling change. It's less about the reload everything. And I'm not really sure why they changed that because it didn't seem that strong to me. Also, it being silver is interesting. I think that makes a lot more sense to me. It didn't really make sense to me as a bronze item. Beyond that, I really want to say Athanor is like a burst item right now. And I felt like this before, but basically you would just run Athanor, fill your board up with potions, and just hopefully have everything go off and hope it just one-shot your opponent with the burn you were putting out. I think that strategy is now just even more amplified considering that Diamond Athanor now has the old Diamond Athanor now has the same burn as new Silver. So Athanor might have some pretty degenerate burn burst, but we'll see. I think Dragon's Breath is still some garbage. I think it was horrible at 12 seconds. 10 seconds is absolutely a change in the right direction. I still think it's way too slow. And it's also a potion, which I guess it looks like one, but like every time I see this, I never think it's a potion. So you gotta find a way to reload it or get another ammo. I just don't think it's good. 10 seconds is so slow, and I feel like burn is the most impactful when you can just get it fast and just start ticking people. It's not like a weapon where like if you wait 10 seconds, then have a huge burst, it's insane. I mean, for burn, it's kind of true, but if you get a huge burst of burn, then it's still got to tick down. It's not instant like weapon damage. Floor Spike is a lot worse. I mean, it gets the cooldown buff, but this is huge. I mean, now instead of you needing 5 weapons to go off, you need 9. And I don't. This might be better like early game for certain like if you have smaller boards with less things going off. Like 9-second cooldown's not bad, but definitely delete it a little bit. And then also like a lot worse with the enablers. So this is a definitely big change, and I think that Poppy Field will be a lot weaker. And you'll see like Poppy Field receive some changes, but like Floor Spike as well as I can't think of the name right now. Spider Mace both got like the big nerfs here. I think this is just kind of funny to me. I've never seen a shiny Gloop fail, so I don't know if it was strong at all. But I think it's a flavor fail. Flavor fail. My bad. A flavor fail if it no longer has +3 multicast. But maybe it was really strong. Maybe it was really OP. Or maybe they just want shiny to always just give +1 multicast. Either way, if it wasn't OP, it's a little sad to see this +3 go, but maybe it was too strong. For leeches, I think leeches will be a fair bit stronger. I'm not sure if it'll be quite at like the peak of viability, but 8 seconds is a lot better than 9. I think this is certainly a lot stronger in the early game. I'm not sure how this late game scaling will come into effect, but 8 versus 9 is a big deal. This might make it go off 4 times in a fight, where previously maybe it went off 3, and that's a big deal, especially as it scales and heals. I think that's pretty good. Because again, you never saw this item. Library. This is just a billion enchant changes. I think this is all reasonable. Library is very strong right now, and it honestly lets a lot of things go off at pretty degenerate speeds. So it's pretty like understandable that when you're enabling everything to go off a billion times, that you know these enchantments are toned back. I also, I mean, also I think the fall below half health each fight enchanter was a little goofy too. Yeah, yeah, this is also okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I think these enchants are very reasonable changes. So Magic Carpet, this is a big change. I was already a big Magic Carpet fan in the early game, and I think that's only stronger now. This is definitely a big like pro weapons Mac change, and I'm thinking that. Well, first of all, I think this could be very strong early game because there's also some more weapon changes below, but this might actually enable this to be pushed into the late game because it's so much faster. And another way you can think about this is like the idea of Magic Carpet is you want to get it down to 1 second so you can crit as much as possible. So now instead of needing 6 crits, you need 5, and that's a big deal for sure. This is interesting. The relic change only is going to really change its interactions with Laboratory and Raven. And Philosopher's Stone already has some pretty strong enchantment, so maybe running this in a Laboratory build could be pretty strong, or like maybe this is a way to subtly buff Raven, which I don't think has really been seeing a lot of play. But we'll see. I think it's interesting. I feel like this is one of those changes where it's so subtle that you could be like, oh, this changes nothing, or it could be, oh, this completely breaks the game because Philosopher's Stone enchants are crazy and now it's in Laboratory. But I don't think it's that big a deal. I think these are pretty reasonable Plague Glaive changes. Anything that has, first of all, nothing should have an enchant that's freeze an item for 6 seconds, let alone something that is going to multicast like 8 times when it's fucking going off. So that's actually degenerate. And like same here, that's degenerate. Like it's already multicasting so much, it doesn't need all this extra time. So I think this is a good change. And I don't even know if this is less like I don't think this is about the strength of Plague itself. I think it's just about how ridiculous this shit is. Because freeze an item for 6 seconds is ridiculous. That like late game that's an item out of the fight. And then it does it like 8 times, so it freezes their whole board permanently if that goes off. That's ridiculous. It already basically does that if it does this, but this ultimately is like such overkill and guarantees it. So for Poppy Field, yeah, they're definitely toning back some of the degenerate enchantments. Like freeze an item for 2 seconds is crazy. This is crazy turbo. Heavy's crazy. But then they're also buffing like restorative. That's a pretty big change in my opinion. 10 times the poison could be like every time you use a weapon, heal like, 100 at first, but then it keeps scaling. Like that could very quickly be like 500 plus a heal. Well, even way more than that. That could be like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a heal, like very late game. So it's pretty good. Same here. That's a lot of burn. Like a disgusting amount of burn. But maybe it's like, again, Spider Mace got nerfed, Floor Spikes got nerfed, so we'll see. So these enchantments are a little scary to me. But maybe this just isn't that strong anymore. We'll definitely see. So recycling bin, again, we're kind of noticing this change of toning back heavy, icy, and turbo enchantments, but also kind of buffing these lesser enchantments. Maybe not lesser, because like things like fiery and insane and obsidian's insane. But like this stuff is definitely can be pretty premium. Beyond that, I mean, I don't think this is gonna be that different or that crazy. I mean, again, you can't really underestimate fire or obsidian damage, so maybe if you get some crazy regen, you could see a heavily, like, ridiculous recycling bin occasionally, but I don't really buy into it. But maybe the enchantment does break it now. Like, this is a big change for weapons, because this is more of that crit synergy going back to Magic Carpet, and 7 seconds is a big deal. Or like 7 seconds to 6 seconds is a big deal. A very big deal. So we'll see. Again, same with double bow. Taking a whole second off. I think these items are going to be significantly stronger. Will they see play? I don't know. But that's a big change in terms of cooldown. And again, I think we'll see a lot more of like Mac crit lifesteal weapons, especially right after this patch is at like in circulation. And also a little side note, this is a Colt buff, if you remember like the Colt event, because now double bow's better. Satchel. So my only worry with Satchel is that it seems so slow to me. Like a 6 second reload at Diamond just sounds really horrible to me in my head. And I just feel like that's bad because it only triggers its effect when you reload. I mean, maybe you can get a pretty insane amount of potions to get a bunch of regen. Because maybe if you got this thing to like 200, 300 regen and you did it, you'd be like, okay, now I'm healing like a fucking boss. But that's on 6 seconds. I don't know. And this effect is so minor. Like, you're never going to be reloading. I still feel like Satchel's really, really bad. Maybe that's just me, though. Secret Formula, yeah, it was unplayable at 10 seconds, to be honest. So, maybe we'll see. We'll see. Like, this is a big 2 second change. We'll see. Old Secret Formula obviously busted, but we'll see how this comes along. Smelling salts, again, we're noticing a lot of these just enchant like changes. Big ones on freeze, which I think is reasonable. 2 seconds is crazy. And this is still pretty strong to be honest, but this is insta game winning basically. And I feel like that's a fair thing. Like Icy is a very good enchant on anything. And I think it should be strong, but it shouldn't be insta game winning. Like this. This is insta game winning. Anyways, so these, I still think Smelling Salts will be very strong, but it's not, these degenerate enchantments are decreased. Spider Mace just absolutely just got hammered. And I wouldn't really look at the cooldown here. I would think about it as instead of the 4 slow or poison procs that it needed before, it now needs 5 to go off every time. And that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And I still think you could hit like very degenerate builds with a lot of poison, where your mace is still going to be triggering basically as much as it did with old mace. But with this change and the damage and the enchants decreased, Spider Mace got a lot worse. And that's definitely a big deal. Again, I still think it could see play in right situations, but this item got very fairly toned down tremendously. So this is a pretty interesting moose change. Cooldown 3 seconds is insane. Instant, interestingly enough, like the damage decreases a lot. But the big change is like right here. And I guess right here too. But so now it's more about the invulnerability given to you by the moose as opposed to the damage scaling. And that's a really big like fundamental item change. And ultimately I feel like it's for the better. I think when it was at 3 times I can't fucking speak right now. 3 times regeneration, it was too much, and it would just lead to some ridiculous late game item damage. And so I'm kind of interested to see how this invulnerability aspect goes. But I think this is fair. I think 3 times or even 2 times was way too much. So I'm interested to see how this will go. I think it's hard to rate this, but I think it's still fine. Still definitely good at silver. It's better at silver, but we'll have to see how it goes. So Tome, this is basically a non-existent change. I think that's a horrible enchant. I don't think you ever really want to run Tome on your board anyways. I think it's a fine item to keep in the stash for passive regen, but this is like a nothing change. This Viper Cane change is interesting. Obviously, you're going up 2 seconds in cooldown. You're getting a lot more scaling. Actually, not. It's only 5% more. That seems like a big deal. Like, I wasn't even seeing Viper Cane before at all. And now it's a 2 second cooldown increase. Maybe it was too strong. But I swear I hadn't seen a single Viper Cane. So that seems like a big deal. Like 5% for 2 seconds is pretty, I don't know, bad. I feel like Viper Cane is gonna see even less play. But again, maybe it was everywhere and I just never ran into it. So also Most important change. Flame Dancer. That's a big change. I mean, this scale was probably the worst skill in the game for pretty much every build. Like most builds, even a burn build, this like effectively did nothing. So now it's at least a little more respectable. It's always the worst feeling too to be playing Radiant Corsair and you see the skill drop and you're like, oh, it's Fire Rebirth, GG's, game's too easy. And then it was actually just like 2% crit chance on your burn items, if you had any burn items, and it felt so bad. And like 5% isn't a big deal, but it's 2.5 times that. It's almost the same as this old gold tier. 20% is nothing to scoff at. It's a reasonable amount, especially on a high, I was gonna say like cycle burn item. But yeah, guys, so those are all my thoughts on the new patch notes. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to check this out. Yeah, let me know again what you think is the craziest change here. I think this is my going into people's radars. I think this is actually pretty strong. And again, the floor spike and spider mace changes are pretty ridiculous. But then also the weapons. A lot of crit weapon synergies coming out. So all very exciting, all very interesting. Guys, thanks again for stopping by. I'm going to have another upload coming out tomorrow for some new cool bizarre gameplay. Until then, I hope you have a good one. Sorry, very importantly, I'd like to also thank How Bizarre, because they're like the ones on top of these patch notes, and also my man on Reddit, I think it's Mix, for consistently uploading these to the Reddit and making them available. So I just want to say thanks to, Mio and then How Bizarre in general for allowing these notes to easily be seen by the community. So anyways, guys, thank you again for your time. I hope you have a good one, and I will catch you in the next one.